Alright, so this is podcast number 4. And I'm Cheetah Assassin.
Mantis Assassin.
We don't have much to talk about today. I finished my mod for my pistol, and this was a very interesting and very time-consuming modification, but I think it's worth it. One of the things I did was the complete rail delete. So there's no screws here or anything, and that makes the gun have a very interesting shape. And I plugged the CO2 hole right here, and I know some people do that with JB Weld, and I just did it with epoxy. How I did that was with each of the shells. When they're taken apart, there's little notches on the inside where the metal piece for the plug go into. And that's what the CO2 cap connects to, and there's little notches, so you can put just a little piece of cardboard into there and get a piece of tape on the other side and just fill in that gap, then sand everything down after the epoxy's dried, and it works pretty well. So far, I know some people talk about having a split down the middle. So far I haven't had that, but I think that's because I don't even use CO2 at all. I know some people who have done this, or the rail delete mod, can still have a split because there's pressure in that chamber. So another thing I did was I took your skinny fang trigger design. It's like the 4th iteration of the modification.
It's been down and down, back and forth.
And I originally, it was much longer. The interesting thing about this was Tristan Ellis, Vengeful Assassin, told me about brass plating, which is what I did on the screws, as you can see. And basically that just involves taking a vise and putting in the piece of metal you want to plate. You get a blowtorch and heat it up, and then take a brass bristle brush, like pure brass, make sure it's not brass coated steel because that'll mess it up. And I did that. But you take that, the brass bristle brush is like $2.50 at Home Depot, and just drag it across there, and it'll lay that brass coloring onto the metal. The thing is, I'm pretty sure this is just stock, or not stock, pot aluminum, and I think because of the design, whenever you heat it up, all of that heat just goes right to the tip, and it ended up melting off the tip. So it's like, okay, I got to figure out a different approach to this because brass plating isn't going to work, so all I did was just prime and spray painted this gold. You can see chips in it. I mean, it's not perfect, but it looks cool, and it's super easy to spray paint again once you do it.
Very true.
So, another thing I was testing out for the first time last week was I figured out how to shorten the trigger pull. So, do you have your pistol on you?
I don't.
So there's a spring on the inside of this gun that is connected. It's inside of the CO2 puncture valve itself. So the reason I can do this with my pistol is because I have the brass tube connecting from this side of the gun to the CO2 puncture valve assembly. It's completely blocked. Yeah, I did the Outcast Paintball Systems modification, and since I did that, the CO2 puncture valve really only serves a purpose as to keep tension against the spring. So I realized, or not the spring, the trigger. So I realized that when you take this apart, if you replace that spring, you can effectively shorten the trigger pull. So that's what I did. And I'll show you the difference. I wish I had one of those snap tools that takes apart those snap O-rings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I totally do not have one of those. So on the inside here, this is what the inside of my gun looks like. on this piece, this is completely blocked off. So I have a nail in here and some extra gubs in there just to make sure it's not gonna shove everything back into the valve. And I also have the pieces of rubber inside this brass tube. So what I ended up doing was somebody on the team was talking about how to shorten the trigger pull, you can take this cap off. And he realized that if you do that, you're just going to have empty, dead space on the beginning of the trigger.
Your trigger just bounces back and forth on this little black nub.
Yeah. And so I didn't like that. So what I did was I took this apart. And so when you take this apart, there's this little snap O-ring. There's another O-ring right behind it. There's another O-ring right behind it. You have a piece of brass with another a rubber washer and then an O-ring. And on the inside, you have this big spring, and that puts tension on this piece of brass against that snap O-ring. And you have this puncture pin in here, and this spring goes inside of that puncture pin. And that is what is providing tension against this white piece of plastic and the trigger. So in the stock one, so in the stock CO2 puncture valve is this spring right here. And it's pretty firm and stiff. And I replaced it with a spring from a clicky pin, and that is much, much lighter. So me and Tristan have done some testing, and we're pretty sure that you can't do this if you have air going through your CO2 puncture valve. So you can only do this if you've done the complete HBA only mod. We're still doing some more testing. I've only tested it on the field once, and it worked fine. It's a really interesting trigger pull that I'm going to have to get used to, but I think it's going to be very advantageous once I get used to it. Thing is I can now shoot faster than my magazines can load paintballs, so I will break paintballs if I'm shooting too fast, which is also very interesting. So that's about it for this mod. It was pretty simple. I mean, if you know how to take apart basic things, if you've taken apart the gun before. I highly recommend getting a snap tool to get this O-ring out. This piece of metal. It has the hooks on the end, so you can squeeze the piece of metal. I don't have one of those.
They're also really good for taking apart your regulator.
Yeah, that too.
Snapping there,
I don't have one of those, and I don't really value this CO2 puncture valve assembly because, as I said, that all it's doing is providing tension against my trigger. So I'm not too worried about knocking out apart and on the inside too much here or there. So, but if you are just experimenting with it and you plan on using CO2 in the future, I recommend being way more careful when you're taking this apart. But that's just me. So how is your lens coming along?
Okay, so I got an idea on tinting a lens. So I had a couple of stock lenses, a clear one and a yellow one, and I was like, man, I really need a darker lens because we don't play much indoor. So I took car tint and wrapped my lens in it, and I come out with a bunch of crinkles and creases though. So I have figured out that the better way to do this is I took a masking tape and laid it all across this lens, peeled it off, slid it in spots to where it lays flat on a flat surface, because you can't take a flat wrap and put on a spherical object without getting creases and wrinkles. So I took that masking tape, laid it all across my mask, peeled it back off, made slits so it laid flat, and then I put the, I guess, template you would call it, onto the vinyl, And my next step is, or not the vinyl, the tint. And my next step is going to be cut that out and lay that across there real smooth. And probably use a heat gun to make it wrap and adhere better. So that's what I've been tinkering with in my off time.
How does the vinyl itself, I mean, minus the wrinkles, how does it work better than you expected?
Oh, it adheres really well, really, really well. If you could get it to where it just laid flat all the way across the lens, it would be really nice. And I mean, it's just the same stuff that you put in your car windows. So you can get real light tint, or you can go full blackout. So it really helps on those sunny days whenever you're fighting against the sun. So anything I've been tinkering with, I've just been really focusing on playing a lot more than tinkering with my gear. I'm not a modder. My skills do not come in craftsmanship. But we are going to be at Triple Threat in 2 weekends from now, playing for Blue Team with Ballista. Who are we meeting down there? Dalton's going to be down there.
So Dalton's going to be down there, you and I are going to be down there. Trinidad Wood, Sonic Assassin, he's going to try and make it.
Yeah.
Tiffany Grimmager, and
Cheshire says she was going too, didn't she?
She's going too. I don't know if we have any more, but that's half a dozen.
Yeah.
And a half a dozen is a really good fire squad.
Good old force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. We're gonna have some fun.
Shout out to all you guys that were at Hoth yesterday.
That looked awesome.
Fucking murdering it out there.
I can't wait to see the gameplay of that.
What was it? Most valuable team they got? Yeah, most valuable team. So of course we brought that home. Good job, guys.
We're looking to bring that home on that Triple Threat.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. For sure.
That's our goal. So I just got my mask painted by Luna Assassin, and it looks bad fucking ass. Look at this shit.
Hell yeah.
Dude, she even like took my signature and put it on there. It's so cool. So right now I have the clear lens in here, and I noticed I should be way more careful when I'm not using gear, because I just throw gear wherever, like outside in the winter months, and now it has a warp in there.
Oh no.
So that's going to be very interesting. Thankfully, I only ever use my clear lens when I'm doing night games.
Yeah.
At least for this mask. So that is a good thing. But I always try and make it a habit to keep your clear lens in case your mirrored lens or whatever lens you're using as a main decides to crap out on you.
Yes. Oh, it's always good to have a clear lens, because night games, if you throw on your mirrored or your tinted lens, you are not seeing crap. And clear lenses are a lot better for indoors, like whenever you're indoors and lighting's not real good. The Arrow is really good for that.
Let's see here. I think that's about it. This is a short one. We're going to go play in the cold today. That's going to be fun. I'm hoping we're going to have some people there. Our field is really weird, because we'll get lots of people who come out on warm sunny days. We'll also get nobody who comes out on warm sunny days. And then there's the people who only want to come out when it's cold so they can layer up. So we're hoping it's one of those days, and we'll have some players.
It's really hit and miss.
Yeah.
Really hit and miss.
So I have a
Kill of the week.
Kill of the week from Reese Robinson. He is Rush Assassin's neophyte. And we're going to watch that real quick.
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? You're gone! Hey, the wall, the back left wall. Hey, someone's got to watch this door though, make sure they don't run. Hold on. Y'all gone? Coming out. I shot the girl from over there.
That's what we like to see.
Right?
He sent me 4 videos, and I was like, okay, the first 3 are pretty good. The 4th one I saw, I was like, okay, but in this one you're supporting Rush Assassin, and that's what this is all about. It's all about teamwork. We work the best, funnily enough, either together or against each other. If we're fighting against each other, it's me versus him 1v1, and there also happens to be other people on the field because we're just gunning for each other as hard as we can.
Basically cutting through bodies to get to each other.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really exhilarating. And whenever we're playing with each other, it's almost like a tag team.
Yeah, like a leapfrog.
Yeah, I'll get the attention of somebody, and I'll keep them nice and distracted while Brett sneaks around and shoots them in the back, and then now people are paying attention to him, and they're not paying attention to me, and so I'll move up and I'll do that, and it's all about that teamwork. If you don't, you know, a lot of people think that they want to be mavericks, you know, lone wolves, but
run up in there, guns blazing.
Yeah, we're really excited for Triple Threat.
Yeah.
I myself have never played with any Assassins before, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then after that, it looks like there's going to be an event in March that is a 10-man.
10-man at our local field. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of our biggest fields, the schools field. We're trying to gather up 10 people to be on our team, but man, is it hard to find 10 paintballers in our area.
Yeah. That
can commit.
Yeah, even mechanical.
Yeah.
Like, I know one, Evan, hopefully will come and play with us, or we'll get on the team that he's trying to coalesce, but yeah.
We'll figure something out.
We might just have to hop on, find a team that only has 8 people. But I think so. Yeah. I saw that video on your Snapchat yesterday.
Yeah.
Where she's like, you're like, why are you asking so many questions? Goes, I don't know. Why am I asking so many questions? You're like, I knew it was one of those days.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
For sure.
Oh man. Well, we're gonna go play.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great week. I'll try and get this podcast out as soon as possible. I'm working on a ton of different projects right now.
Oh, also at Triple Threat, any of you guys that are going, we're going to try to do like on the spot meet and greets, and maybe some like handful of questions and different stuff of each assassin that are down there. So we'll try to get some live things going on and throw together a collection of podcast snippets while we're down there.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. If we're either going to do that, where we just do a bunch of live streams and then take those and make them into a podcast, or maybe even do 2 podcasts and have one like in the hotel room at the campsite or wherever we're going. So, I guess that's all for this week.
Yep. We'll see you guys out there.
So, addendum, it's cold as fuck.
Cold as fuck.
And it's also Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Who the fuck?
So nobody showed up, and we're freezing to death. So no paintball today. Maybe next weekend.
Yeah.
And
fuck the Super Bowl.